In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to improve your wingman aim using Kovaaks scenarios. Quick disclaimer, these scenarios will help, but if you truly want to improve, you should be actually playing the game and using the wingman, or else this info is useless. If you enjoyed the video or it helps you in any way, make sure to like and subscribe, but without further ado, let's get into the video. The wingman is one of the hardest guns to master, and it's because it requires multiple aiming techniques. Most guns in Apex require heavy tracking and leading when the gun's bullet drop-off starts to kick in. However, the wingman requires flicking, tracking, and leading even in close range because it's a single-fire weapon. In Kovaaks, we are going to be practicing flicking and tracking. We won't be covering leading our shots because in Kovaaks the gun doesn't have bullet drop-off, and it's hit scan, meaning it instantly hits the target when you shoot. And if you want to improve leading, you should do so in-game. I've created a playlist on Kovaaks. It has 7 scenarios that you play 5 times each, and it's around 35 minutes long. If you don't know how to import Kovaaks playlists, go into your library, click on Kovaaks, click the settings button, click properties, local files, and then browse. Click the FPS aim trainer folder, then the saved folder, then the saved games folder, and click playlist, and then simply drag your file into the folder and load up Kovaaks. Now that you have successfully imported the playlist, we can go through the scenarios. For the first scenario, I chose Apex Legends Tracking by Kovaaks. This task is great because the targets have unpredictable strafes and jumps, which requires you to use your whole mouse pad, which puts your mouse and arm in very awkward positions. And the more you play it, the more comfortable you will be with aiming in those awkward positions. This scenario practices your tracking, flicking, and predicting due to the target strafing and jumping around. If you end up not using the playlist, I would still recommend playing this scenario. Smoothbot Click Crit is similar to the previous scenario, but instead of the targets jumping and strafing, these targets are a lot smaller and are flying around. For both of these tasks, you should be going for headshots. You will get higher scores going for body shots because they're easier to hit, but you should not be focusing on beating your scores. You should focus on improving. Pretend like the score system doesn't exist. If you start to plateau or do worse in this task, don't worry about it. Remember that your high score in these scenarios don't equate to social status. No one is going to think less of you as a person because you couldn't beat your high score in a circle clicking simulator. Pistol Strafe Gallery Sparky is also similar to the first scenario, except the targets are all in front of you and they go up in stairs and ramps. You also spawn on a huge platform which allows you to practice your aim while moving, which is useful for Apex, because in close to mid-range aim duels you will be moving around and so will your enemy. You want to be prioritizing headshots and strafing with A and D. Like I said before, this will make you get worse scores, but you're not playing Kovaaks to flex your scores, you're using it as a tool to improve your aim. This next scenario is called Ascended Man-Wing. It has a target that moves in all directions and all different speeds and spawns at all different heights. You don't want to wait for the target to come into your crosshair, you need to be flicking or tracking the target and shooting when you have a clear shot. These scenarios are as useful as you make them. You could be playing this playlist every day for a year straight and you're not going to see improvements if you're practicing the wrong way. One of the most popular sayings is practice makes perfect, but in reality, perfect practice makes perfect. If one person plays this playlist 5 times a day the wrong way, and the other person plays it once a day the right way, who do you think will improve faster? Skeet Pistol Small requires precise tracking and flicking. The targets are super small dots and you have to track them perfectly until you can get a good shot on them. This comes in handy for Apex because of abilities like Horizon's Gravity Lift and Octane's Jump Pad, and even when your enemy super glides. Next time you get into an engagement like that, it'll be easier to headshot them because you've practiced tracking such a small target. PVLR Higher Quick Hard is based off the popcorn scenarios. It has a target that bounces vertically and you have to track these targets and the health regens quickly, so if you don't track them perfectly, it won't kill the target. This practices your precise tracking before clicking, and you're forced to be perfectly precise because of the health regen. Popcorn Voltaic is like PVLR Higher Quick Hard, except you have to click the targets and they bounce vertically and horizontally, not just vertically. Popcorn is one of the most popular Kovaaks scenarios, and it trains precise clicking, which is great practice for literally any shooter game. If you enjoyed this video and learned something from it, you should consider subscribing and sharing this video with a friend. I'll be uploading one guide video per week, so make sure to check them out, and I'll see you in the next vid.